I don't feel like time's moved since 2020.
It kinda hasn't.
Nice.
Technologically,
2030 and I'm
things
gonna
have
be like, what the fuck?
moved. Yeah.
Welcome to Mount Mayhem. Ready, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, it's getting to the point where they're talking about like the Disney Renaissance and it's like turning into more and more of like a believable saying.
Okay, but like the Disney Renaissance was like the 90s.
Yeah, what's your point?
the Renaissance of the Renaissance.
No,
Is that
that's
what we're doing?
That's where no. I'm talking about the same thing. What I'm saying though is that like people were talking about that in like the 2000s, 2010.
Right.
But now, like the further we get from that, the more it's like, oh yeah, I guess this is old.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some point, it's undeniable, right? At some point, it's undeniable that it's, from a different time. So, yeah.
It's gonna happen to you too, where it's like more and more things are gonna make you feel like, well, should be not too long before I start getting, flyers for getting an, what was it, AARP membership. Fucking senior discount at fucking Applebee's or whatever the fuck.
Oh my god.
I think the first way that manifests is like people younger than you talking about stuff that you're like, wait, what? What's that? And everyone's just kind of like, what do you mean you don't know whatever the whatever? And then you reference a thing that you know, and everyone's just like, what?
Yeah, it's hard to keep on top of like the internet. Honestly, I'm relying on other people for that because I can't be bothered keeping up.
I have my whole life though. That's the thing. Even as a kid, I did that. So it's like I don't feel like that's changed much for me.
Right.
Even as a kid, I was just like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Fucking Froggy. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
No, but like, I feel like I don't know, especially with like the whole like younger generation not knowing things. I think that's the more prominent thing that gets me fucked up. Like when I see those TikToks of people being like, I'm showing my fucking 6th grade class, right? Like about to be middle schoolers, fucking like an analog clock, and I'm about to ask them if any of them know what it is or how to read it, and then none of them raise their fucking hand. And I'm just like, on the one hand, I get it. They have no need to learn how to read that because they all have a phone or they all have some kind of digital method.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, it's like, wow, that is a form of technology that our generation all learned that's now extinct.
I kind of want to disagree with that, mostly just because I remember it being in grade 6 myself and people... You know what? I remember being in high school and people didn't know how to read a fucking analog clock.
I agree. There were some kids who didn't know how to do it, but what I'm talking about is the entire class did not know how to read it.
Yeah.
I know, but honestly, for me, it was like at least half the class was like, man, I have so much trouble with this. I'm like, what the fuck?
Really? I felt like 90% of my school every year could read it. That's crazy. Well, at least, but I don't know.
There were some people that, like, I would talk to, and I would be like, oh, what time is it? And they would look at the clock, and then they would look at me, and they would be like, probably 1. And I'm like, probably?
Probably. Oh, God.
That's crazy. It's not them. Some people have bad teachers, bro.
I literally have a wristwatch on just about at all times.
Because that's
yeah. Well, because like I know it's fucking crazy to hear in this day and age, but I sometimes don't have my fucking phone on me, so it's like if I'm waking up or whatever and my phone's all the way over at the, over there getting charged or whatever. I'm just, I'll just look at my wrist and be like, oh, fuck, it's 3.
I don't feel safe without my phone on me.
I can kind of understand where where people got lost when it came to like reading the time, because of how the clock works. But at the same time, I don't know. It was like,
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it's simply
In the final lap.
they had a bad teacher, and then once they got past that teacher who taught them badly, they never sought out learning it on their own, and so they never learned how to do it. It's as simple
Right.
as that, Like everyone could learn how to read a block that way. It's somewhat unintuitive, sure, but they probably just had a bad teacher who didn't explain it well, or they didn't have a teacher that was willing to break it down for different brains, which is very important, right?
Yeah.
if they learned it the same way that I did, it was like we learned it in grade 3, and then that was the only time we ever learned it. And what they would do is they mostly just handed us just like clocks printed on pieces of paper, and then it was like maths, right? It was just clocks on pieces of paper, and we would basically just have to write what time the clock was showing.
God,
Yeah.
I don't even remember quote unquote being taught that in school. It's just one of
I
those
do.
things I think my parents just kind of fucking taught me. If we
No,
went
I
over it
never
all,
did.
that was like kindergarten or first grade dealio, I think.
Yeah, for me it was first grade. I don't know, maybe I've learned that most people aren't like this, but I remember kindergarten and first grade and second year. You know what I mean? Like, apparently most people aren't like that.
My youngest memories from when I was about 3 years old.
I have memories from age 3 and 4 as well. Not many, but what I
Not
mean is
many,
I quite vividly remember kindergarten and first grade.
I have trouble remembering my kindergarten, except that it's kind of similar to like age 3. I've got like a couple of key memories. If I really tried, I could probably dig a few things up if I was on like the right train of thought.
Right.
But yeah, I remember my primary school days a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel like, man, yeah, I don't know. I remember so much. I don't know why. From like elementary, like really early. Like, I remember I don't know. There's so many random little things that when I learned this, I remember when I first learned about certain fundamental concepts. Like, I remember the day I learned what a fraction was. I remember